Hey, what's up guys? So here we are back again for more of our Python BACnet stacked playground. So we'll get into, looks like I need to start my little mouse highlighter. We'll get into Vibe Code App 4. We're kind of almost to the point of being able to do the web weather station. So head over to OpenWeatherMap API. You can get a free API key. Let me see. So we're just going to use my API key for this call. So I think it's probably bad that I'm sharing my API key over YouTube, but oh well, it's just like kind of like a tutorial. And I'll probably change it as soon as we publish these videos. So just go get your own API key. Notice this website's running really slowly, but there's a whole bunch of APIs you can grab. There's even so when we did a dirt simple Python script to scrape the internet for weather, this is kind of like what it came up with. So anyone can do this over, just Google it now. But this might be old, and I think they have version 3 of their API. There's a couple different APIs that they have, and some of them are paid and some of them are free, and you can definitely call 5 times an hour to get web weather data for free, no problem, which is plenty for a building. But it's kind of lame. So whatever, at least I got my API key. Pricing. So here's the 3.0, and I think the 2.0 might be out of date. There should be current weather. So these are the different paid plans, and I know that there was a free one. I wonder if it's depreciated though. We'll find out. Maybe they got solar radiations. That's pretty cool. They got a whole wind service. They have a lot more than, so I've used this before in the past. Just for playing around for free. And where is their, wonder if they depreciated their free API. But we'll find out here. So another thing is what I want to do, maybe we'll just ask ChatGPT, is so we'll upload the script and then say how to add an env variable to the script. So this is we don't want to push our environmental variables to our API keys to GitHub. So what does the env file look like? Okay, .env file. So this is what we want. So we'll just get this again. We'll probably find out here shortly if this API is depreciated. So if we just do this, new file, right-click new file, .env, and it should be like a hidden file, and it automatically goes gray because GitHub will not push it up to GitHub because you want to protect your API keys. So then we'll just paste that in here. Mine is set for, I might do Chicago IL. So just put in your city and then our API key, which I just have on a text file. So I was having some issues before with the website. There, so that should work. So this is currently my API key, which I'll just delete here after this YouTube video is done. But what you need to do is just go get your own API key. Wonder if we should be using the 3.0 pay per call. Whatever. So maybe this is still working. See the old version. but just go get your own API key, and it's free. You just sign up for it. And I remember like it takes like 2-3 hours for people behind the scenes working at OpenWeatherMap have to approve your account, so it's not immediate. So just be aware of that. Maybe it's different, but okay. So let's do this. Let's do the Python. So we have to change directory into here where these files live. Vibe code at 4. Do Python OpenWeatherMap tester. Ooh, a 404. City not found. So we'll just shove it all back up to ChatGPT, and I don't care about putting my API key to ChatGPT. It's all free, and if anything, the OpenWeatherMap API, if someone starts hijacking my API key, will be like yelling at me through my email that you've made way too many requests. Oh, maybe there's like a new Python package we have to install, python.env, so just like the request library in our BACnet, we have to install some additional requests. And let's see what they got. So I'm on Windows. This could be a little bit different if you're on Mac or Linux. City not found. Well, it's kind of lame. I'm just going to delete this. Still. Let's print base URL. We can shove that up to ChatGPT 2. Ooh, we probably want, I'm not in a place where we regularly use metric for weather. This will get working here in a second. Shouldn't be too hard, hopefully. So once we get this script working, we'll use this. We'll retrofit our weather data to our BACnet objects for temperature, humidity, and probably throw something in there for dew point, since we defined these here. And then the units, and then we'll also wire in something here, like if the weather fetch fails, which we're definitely failing right now, that it'll be a flag. Alright, so maybe that is why it is failing. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So we got some data. Nice to know. So like, then we should do units too. How to mod the .env for units and the location, please. Okay, so we got, let's do Chicago. I don't want metric units, so we would just say imperial, I think. Okay, so we would do, these are our choices of units, so I'll just put that in like a little note right here. Change in what it does is in the request to the API is it injects that right into the units with the API specs. There we go, imperial. Ooh, invalid API key. I pooched my API key. Stupid thing. Apparently didn't want for me to inject my API key up to ChatGPT, but I don't care. I'll probably be deleting this API key here shortly anyways, so. Okay, ta-da, Chicago, Illinois. So now the fun part is we're gonna ask ChatGPT how to bake into the BACnet. Just to do this, and also I want a calc for dew point from outside air temp, dry bulb, and humidity. Okay, so we're just going to cheat and then use AI to put this code our BACnet server code. And yes, people are barking at me that I'm using too much AI, but I don't care. So we're just gonna put that, and then we're gonna say ChatGPT that like we want. Maybe we should clean this up a little more. Make it so we are getting the weather data into the BACnet app on the correct points. Then we want to say like fetch weather data every 15 minutes defined in a new constant for weather fetch. Then we should probably keep, so this is an internal algorithm or variable. If we look for that, that's in our server in here in the algorithm. So we should probably update that like maybe every 5 seconds, fine. Keep the existing update for the BACnet present values on the 5-second update. Be sure to mod the code for the correct BACnet points, present values, please. Okay, there we go. Here we go. The power of AI. So like, hopefully what ChatGPT computes for us is like, we'll still have this internal, so we're gonna basically retrofit this. So instead of like this little algorithm that we tested out yesterday, this will be the weather data will be injected here for the present values of our BACnet points. And then ChatGPT will probably create a whole nother method specifically for updating weather data. I think we can get rid of these commandable points. Hopefully ChatGPT will do that. I wonder if ChatGPT will know what this is used for, because we didn't tell ChatGPT that this is a Boolean BACnet point. That we could say like if the weather fetch data fails, to set that to inactive, just meaning hey, this point is the weather data is bad. So like we failed to update via the web, you know, because our internet connection in the building or whatever, something failed. OpenWeatherMap API or our API key was bad. And like we could have a BACnet Boolean point that would just say go false, meaning that the weather fetch data failed. And what you could do on the building automation side is wire in logic that if this is false or bad, use the local building sensors. But there is like some ways, like we could get really fancy and make it stale somehow. But whatever, this is kind of just mimicking something kind of cool to try. See if ChatGPT is all done. All right, so what did it do here? So we're still using, okay, so it threw in this this calc dew point. So this is just something for, cool, it even did, it'll convert the whatever units we specified in the .env file. So this will just calc dew point for us, which I think is kind of a not too crazy of a math calculation, more mechanical engineering theory. If you were calculating wet bulb, I think that one is really hard calculation, but dew point isn't very hard. Feel free to contest me on that. I could be saying that wrong, but I don't think dew point is a very hard calculation, but some of the other ones are really hard. So we're getting temperature and humidity data from the web and then calculating dew point, because I don't think it's too hard. All right, so let's see if ChatGPT knew what to do with that. So, okay, so we created a new data structure, a dictionary, which we know what that is from our theory lectures. So it populates this data. I think ChatGPT did do that because it changed this. It just knew what to do with that. That's kind of cool that AI is smart enough. We didn't tell it, but it just saw this name that like it should know what to do with that. So it kept this, so we register our app points. So then fetch weather loop. So this will fetch weather data and it'll sleep. So this is an asynchronous Python process that will sleep. And then we also have our BACnet function here, which will also, so this is two processes going on, two while true loops, which we know from our theory lectures what forever while true loops do. One loop is fetching weather data every 15 minutes, and then it just sleeps. And then so does this one sleeps an internal update every 5 seconds. It's just going to update just with the weather data, and so it all happens asynchronously. While this one is sleeping, this one can run, and then there's probably a million other features that Backpipes has under the hood where it will respond to IAM requests, whois requests, COV notifications. So like Backpipes under the hood is doing a ton of stuff. It's interesting that it used that to thread. I'm going to ask it, do we need to thread, or can we just use async.io gather? Or is to thread good because it is IO? Okay, so like we talked about async.io gather briefly, and then to thread. So toThread is good because request is a blocking. Okay, so like this request to the internet is good to use because it's actually not asynchronous by nature. So I think that's fine. Probably nice and easy and basic. So then, what did we do yesterday? We were in split terminals. And then we did, let's see, what device was this? I have to keep checking my BACnet scan tool for which device this is on the test bench. Gosh, maybe we'll just save our theory election for tomorrow if this runs too long. Okay, so this was .12, 204.12. So I'm just gonna do a Control R. This will look up my last command because I can't remember. So 204.12. And that was actually the SCP command. So what that does is I cheat all the time, and it's just like a text. It tries to trace back what your closest related command is, so I don't have to do this. Okay. Oh no, that's the other Raspberry Pi. That's the wrong one. Maybe, no, this is right. Okay, so mini Pi, yep, mini weather device, and then this is where we could use this command for secure file copy protocol, which we did yesterday. There's a variety of different ways that you can get a script via SSH from one device to another. I'm just doing that. Boom, and it did it already. So see, it transferred successfully. ChatGPT is really good at helping you understand how to do that. So it's kind of, there's a lot going on there, but we sent this script on my Windows computer to my Raspberry Pi, and then we're SSH'd into the Raspberry Pi here. So this is Linux. It's green, that's why it's a little different colors, icons, and then this is PowerShell on Windows. So we have to get into tmux. Remember yesterday, that was our way of running scripts long term. So I'm gonna do tmux space A, which is to get into our script. So I have to restart it. Control C, because we sent over a new file. So I'm just gonna rerun it. Oh shoot, I know I think we forgot to send this guy. So we have to send our weird. I wonder why it didn't let's see, what IP address was that again? I already forgot. .12. It's 192.168.204.12. Oh shoot, I'm sorry guys. I'm already SSH into the Pi. Okay, so too many things going on here. So we need to send over our .env file. So I'm just gonna do just deleting our SCP command to .env tab complete it. Okay, so now I'm gonna secure copy file protocol, the .env, to our Linux device over here. Okay, that was done. Sent it over. Let's check and make sure it came over. So like I can't click on these because this is on a remote computer, but I can cat the env file. You know, weird, what the heck? Oh shoot, maybe I screwed this up. Where did this go? something. Alright, I think it's there. .env. So if I run Python, let's just see if we can get our correct args. Sorry guys if this is kind of confusing. Oh shoot, I have to enable our virtual environment. Test it. Maybe we'll do tmux in a second. And it appears to be using the old. Something is not right. Okay, so I'm going to send this file over again. Okay, so this, let's just even cat this file now. Mini weather device. Oh, so it is only. What the heck? I wonder if I forgot to copy this. Did I forget to copy this file? I may have forgot to copy this. Oh boy. Alright, let's send it over again and reconcatenate it. Alright, looks a little better. See if we get it to run now. I'm just going to clear this. Okay, so we have to pip install requests on our Raspberry Pi. Okay, pip install. Sorry if this video is like a little bit jumbled here, but okay, so the Raspberry Pi is installing the library right now to fetch the weather data from the internet with the requests. So it's installing this library. I might have to install that too. Okay, so pip install the .env. Okay, so we got that installed. Alright, so wow, so we got weather data. So the Raspberry Pi fetched the weather data. Cool, and we calculated dew point. Okay, this looks a lot better. So let's test it out. Wow, look at that. Okay, so we have web weather 62 in Chicago. That looks about good. Dew point in Chicago is 54. Relative humidity 74. That seems like pretty decent data for I'm not too far away. And the weather fetch or binary value is true. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense, guys. Sorry, this is really confusing, but like so this will update on the Raspberry Pi every 15 minutes, and then it's going to update internally the BACnet present value every 5 seconds. And then this I'm running on my Windows computer. This is Windows over here, PowerShell. We sent the files over via SCP, Secure File Copy Protocol. And then this is in SSH on the Raspberry Pi. And then we still need to run it in tmux for it to continue running on the Raspberry Pi when we close our SSH session. So I might actually close this down and then type in tmux again. And then I have to enable our virtual environment again. .env bin activate. And then let's find our script. Okay, see how it's green? That means we fetched our weather again. So you should be able to fetch a little bit of data before OpenWeatherMap says, hey, too much fetching for your free account. But it's working. Cool. Okay, so then we can test this when we close out of our SSH. I'm just going to do Control-BD. Still didn't work. Tmux is kind of a pain in the butt, so Control-BD. You know, hold down Control-B, then D, and then that detaches from Tmux. You know, feel free to ask AI to get some lessons on how to use that. So, okay, so let's close out of VS Code. I'm just going to close out of U, and then let's retest this. I've opened up this BACnet scan tool about a zillion times. Do a whois. This is our global whois. And then let's test if Tmux is keeping our script open and running on the Pi, and boom, it is. So here we are. So OpenWeather, that's our OpenWeather server, or a Web Weather server. Cool, it's working. See if the weather has changed in Chicago. 62. All right, so this is pretty cool. So like, you could, in theory, play around with running something like this in one of your buildings. And you could get web weather into your HVAC applications. So like the whole point of this is that dew points is kind of like an advanced way that you could do economizing free cooling logic or something, or in some combination of weather from the internet and relative humidity. So there's things that you can do with like operating the building better, even with the energy efficiency stuff. These sensors could be, if your airport weather station, wherever you're getting your weather data from by OpenWeatherMap, is, you get good OpenWeatherMap data compared to your local building sensor, you could be controlling your building better because the weather data from these weather stations at the airport would most likely be much higher quality than a flimsy local building automation sensor that is probably costs less than $50 US. So another thing cool I think you can do in this scan tool is like we could even change the object ID. So we did this through an arg in Backpipes, but I just want to try this once. Let's give it another BACnet object and see if it takes it. I think Backpipes does support this. Legacy Backpipes did. Let's just try it one more time. Just going to write to that. And remember your BACnet instance IDs. You have to make these unique in the building. No BACnet device on the subnet can have the same virtual address, BACnet instance ID, or else they won't be able to respond properly. Cool. So it even comes up as vendor as Backpipes. There we go. Let's see if that took. I'm going to close out of this. Try it one more time. And then we'll just do some of our theory lecture tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow will just be a theory lecture. Ooh, cool. So it did take that. So you can change your instance ID either through the argument in Python when you set the, when you run the server, which we did in Tmux, or you can do it through here, which is pretty cool. So that's all I have for today, guys. Hopefully you're liking these videos. We're burning through the content really fast, and I have some more advanced ideas to keep on playing around with. We might even play around in Rust with a new BACnet stack on the market called Rusty BACnet. But maybe we could do some advanced things in Python first, or Wireshark, and some other stuff like Linux, like how to run BACnet applications long term with systemd in Linux instead of Tmux, and Docker. So hopefully you're enjoying the series, and talk to you soon. Join the Discord channel too. So look for the Discord channel, and there's a room on the Discord channel for if you have any questions. Talk to you later. Have a good one.